So I really like I think the body style is just sexy as hell. I just love the silhouette of the car. At the same time, I understand the shortcomings of the suspension and some of the ergonomics of the car. So to get one of these cars to drive and ride and be modern functional is kind of a challenge, and one that I'm very proud to say that we're up to. We can make it happen. Since I bought the car at the Barrett-Jackson auction here in Scottsdale, and since Barrett-Jackson has a showroom here in Phoenix, Scottsdale, since Jeff Catlin, the manager down there, is a big Mustang guy, I wanted to get this StreetGRIP Mustang kit in front of them and him and show them how easy it was to install, how complete it was, and most importantly, how well it performed.
So we're starting on the rear first. Now we can get at the shocks from here, and then if that other panel is going to bolt in behind here, we don't need to take this seat out. If this was a non-flip down rear seat car, you would just have to pull the seat back out, which is a piece of cake.
That work?
Yep. Pull these off real quick and then we'll go underneath.
Getting started. Jack up the car.
Hey, we've done that.
Okay.
Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and pull both of the shocks out and get them out of the way. And then we'll start with one side first, and we'll support the rear end. We'll unbolt it from the U-bolts, get the plate out of the way, and then we'll take the one spring and we'll take one out at a time. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Lift it up off the spring. Just get a little bit of clearance so that the spring is technically just hanging in the car now. Hang. And we'll take the shackle apart. Careful with it. Don't want it to do that. All right, Jeremiah, your internal scale says that that spring is, what do you think?
I'm gonna guess 35 pounds.
35? That's what I was gonna say.
35 pounds.
9 pounds? God, it doesn't even feel like 9 pounds. I definitely couldn't do this with the stock spring. Definitely couldn't do that with the stock spring. You can see how much longer the shackle is, and the bolt size itself coming through, just a much sturdier piece. You could push it through, because then as we stick it in, it's going to go into the back side of the other bushing where so then we can get it started. There we go.
So one of the things you'll notice when you do put your leaf spring back on, the shorter ones are for the rear of the leaf spring, and the longer bolt is for the front of your leaf spring.
Okay. Let's start coming up on this side a little. There it goes. Hang our U-bolts like so. It's going to be tight. You got to get that plate up there flat. Okay.
Good deal.
Okay. Okay, get ready. Okay, we need to do the front one.
Yep.
Okay. To prevent axle wrap, we staggered the shocks with this kit. So this is the new mount for your driver's side shock, actually, to relocate it behind the axle. So it goes up into this space above the rear end. You get it in place and you mark your holes, which is what we've done. And then we're going to pull this piece out, and our holes are marked, and now we'll go through and drill all of the holes, and this piece will go up into the car. There's a piece that comes over the top of it inside the car, and we'll bolt it and sandwich it all in, and that will create our shock mount for this side, so that this shock will be mounted in the back now instead of in the front. Plate first, flat washer, nut, sandwiches everything through the floorboard, so our passenger side shock mount is mounted. The kit comes with a little plug to, since we're not going to be using this shock hole to keep all of the elements out from your car, so you can gently persuade it into the hole. And that cleans that up really nice. This one here is a bit tight, so we're gonna put it in first. So you see that it's pretty tight in here, which is why you get the skinny nut to be able to get it up in here and hopefully hold it. I think it started?
I think so. Yep.
Okay, well let's leave it loose. So we've moved our shock knobs to the inside to make for easy adjusting here. So this way we can get right at them and be able to tune the car at the track. You could simply slide under the car from one side or another and give yourself a little more. So I'll put it up in the air and let's take the end links off and we'll take the sway bar off. 9/16.
Maybe we should have done the front first.
Oh, no, we're fine, Jay. Next thing I would do is pop these loose and let's get them out of the way.
Okay.
There, it says. You ready to grab this spindle? Okay, you ready?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
There you go, dude. Okay, that's basically the rubber of the bushing.
Right.
Moving it back and forth, but once you put the Delron in there, the thing can actually move like it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's hard to move.
Well, there's a beauty. Okay, as it's already got lowering springs in it, no tension on it.
Sweet.
Okay, so spring comes out easy when it's a lowered spring.
So if you have a K-brace, you need to loosen it up so you can get it up off the studs to put the new shock plate in there. Which way do they go?
Underneath,
You only go one way.
like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I got it on the nut down there, and then I'm gonna double wrench this deal. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
And so you would mark those two holes and go through and drill, and then that would be what you come up with the lower holes being your optimum holes for use. But yeah, somebody's already done it.
Anybody that works on suspensions is going to change bushings. Either they're going to put rubber back into it or polyurethane back into it. And this is no different. You got to take the old bushings out, you got to put the new bushings in. Well, that's always kind of a scary process. Sometimes you need a press, sometimes you need a torch. It's always a lot of work. So we've tried to make it easier for the customer by developing a bushing installation kit. It's an option to all the StreetGRIP stuff. You can easily push the old bushings out. You can easily push the new bushings in. Quite proud of that too, really.
So depending on what kind of ball joint you had, either a 4-bolt or a 3-bolt is depending on which wedge you'll use. In our case, we had a 4-bolt. So you'll install the wedge with the thicker side pointed out.
What? They're 3/4.
3/4?
Yep, and I've already got a wrench. So here's, got your coil spring piece, and nice, easy movement. All right. Put the shock inside the spring, kind of slid everything up as an assembly so I could get the shock to go through the hole in the plate that we installed. got everything set up in there, and then I lowered the shock down with the upper bushings already on it into place. And then we're going to go up top and tighten the shock down, and that will hold that assembly. So the bushing for the upper shock has a small shoulder that fits inside the hole, and you want to make sure and use the smaller one, not the bigger one. The bigger one goes into the actual washer because it will center that shock in that hole right there.
But
this whole thing pulls everything up.
Yeah, it's pulling it up.
It's pulling the whole assembly up to keep it nice and compressed. Okay, so with that being done, then this whole side is held together now. The spring is held together. Shock is in place, and now we can start with the lower arm.
Slide this right in here.
Okay, come back out just a little bit, Jay. All right, and slide it back and right around in that area is where we were before. The other control arm had like a springing effect because it didn't move. This one moves like it's supposed to, and you got a much better bushing that's not going to wear. So there you go.
Like so.
Inner sleeve out.
Yep. And our Delrin bushing just slides right in. Put the cap on it, our billet spacer, and then our jam nuts.
Kind of a ball type joint out of that with the Delrin in it there so that everything moves around. I'm going to set it on our lower ball joint just to hold it. Car pinned up there. So we're tight here, we're tight here. Tight. I'll tighten up the lock nut against it.
5/8 and a 3/4.
Really? Pulling this apart, and there's an inner sleeve, okay? We're gonna put it on first. Got it, Jay? Okay. And put it on. I'm gonna turn the slit kind of towards the back of the car. And this one, I'm gonna put the other way. Pac-Man it open towards the front, so that way they are okay.
Instructions.
I've had coilover systems on these cars, and they're great. I've had air ride systems, and they're really great. The StreetGRIP system, we were able to make a really, really nice riding, great handling car with a minimum of fuss about installation, with complete assurance of parts compatibility. It rides and drives very much like a new Mustang, like a brand new Mustang.